Hi, I'm here today as the consultant for Dakota State University. During a tough time in this world, we're all going through a pandemic that the coronavirus has created and has crept into the United States. Dakota State University is trying to make a decision on what they should do financially as we go through a tough time and have to make changes to better our university and things of that sort. So the situation at hand, the coronavirus pandemic, it's made its way into the United States, and it's forced colleges and universities to cancel their spring seasons, such from baseball, softball, soccer. Different sports of those calibers had to cancel their season and no longer forego with the activities that they had planned as previously. So now they're stuck with the decision of whether they need to alter the pay of employees because they're not doing as much as they normally would, or continue to do it because of the obligation they know they have to uphold and things like that. So that's the situation, and we're gonna discuss the possible options that they could go through here. A few of the available options are obviously to continue to pay the coaches in full. They could cut the pay from incrementally throughout the process, where you could have different coaches getting cut at different levels. So, for instance, 50% cut, 25% cut, and full laid off. Things like that, where they make decisions on who is more valuable to them within the organization. There's also the drastic measure of completely laying off the coaches on campus, and we all know that's the last resort, but it is definitely an option if the times get tough enough. The underlying issues within this decision I see is you're actually saving money as you cancel these sports, because at small colleges and universities, the things that you're losing here is you're losing the travel costs, the hotel costs when they have to stay overnight, the extra equipment they might have to buy during the season. You're saving costs on those because you're not using them, and then the food to pay to feed the players on road trips, just in between games when they need meals and things of that sort. The majority of the university's income comes from the student athletes, so you're going to have a lot more time to focus in on the recruiting process of next year's class. It frees up a lot more time for that. So actually, the coaches are getting a lot more time to focus on the main priority of the university and bringing in money, but yeah, you're gonna have to fight the fact that if you had a successful season going on, it might bank on your reputation of the season didn't really happen. If you were a struggling program and you needed to grow and show people you were turning the corner, and you were off to a good start, but yet it got cut short, people might not buy into that. So there's different underlying issues you're going to have to look at when it comes to this. You talk about the options. Obviously, the full option is just continue to pay your coaches in full. That keeps everybody on the same track. That it's a responsibility to do everything, and everything that we ask you to do. The only thing that's going to change is you're not going to have your season. You're not going to have the baseball aspect of your job within this year. So you're going to be able to continue coaching continue to recruit for the following season. You'll have more time, like we talked about, and you'll just have to really focus in on that, since we won't be able to be on campus. Next thing is baseball the baseball developmental side is eliminated. You're not going to have students on campus. You're not going to be around your team anymore because of the pandemic, but we understand that, and we just need you to focus on bringing new student athletes in from the next year. Like we already talked about, baseball expenses getting eliminated, saving money for the university. So we feel like if we're able to eliminate all those expenses, being able to pay you and showing you value, that you're important to our organization, that we can keep that culture that we want within Dakota State University, gives us a chance to really prove it to you that you're that valuable to us. Second option is obviously to cut pay. Nobody wants to get their pay cut, so we try to avoid that. But when tough measures come, you got to make big decisions, and it's definitely a possibility. Just because you think about a baseball coach, you're eliminating about 75% of their job when it comes to eliminating their season. They don't have to stay on top of their game day stuff. They don't have to continue to develop the players. They don't need to grow players as individuals. They just won't have any interaction with the people that they've normally had. So you got to look at that. Obviously, they're not doing as much as they need to, but also you have to take into role that what's the main income of the university, and the main income is bringing students in, and for the majority of it, the coaches are the main reason at Dakota State. They bring in the student athletes, and when the athletes make up 80% of your campus, it's very important that they have a lot of time to be able to recruit and bring new players in. And obviously, when we talk about the last aspect, it's the most heartbreaking one, where you just lay off all your coaches. But that's pretty negative, and that's not the ideal way to do it. You're gonna lose your culture within your business, because nobody's gonna trust you that you're gonna have their back when times get tough. And you're also leaving up the recruiting duties to nobody, essentially, or the admissions people that don't really specialize in bringing student athletes in, and your teams are going to suffer from there on out. If it was me in this situation, I continue to pay my baseball coaches in full. I think it's very valuable to show a person that they're valued within your organization. You show them that you trust them to get their job done, even though times are tough. It brings the culture together and brings you to a more family style organization. You look all over, and you look at the money saved from, like I talked about, the travel, the food, the hotels, equipment type stuff. You're saving so much money within that. I think it's worth it to pay the few people in that area, the baseball coaches, to bring in the roster limit of 70 student athletes, which are bringing essentially 70 tuitions into your school, which is your main income. So I find it very valuable that they're still in their job. And like I said, if you're getting paid full, it's almost seen as a responsibility and expectation to continue to do your job at the highest rate. If you cut their pay, you're going to find out that people are going to slack off. They're not going to care as much as they would if they are getting full pay. They're going to spend more time with their family and things like that. But you, just for the lack of respect for the people that are working for you and their families, there's no reason to put them in a hardship financially as a family, when you have the ability to continue to pay them in full. And we understand that we've had some facility updates that are in progress, but when we figured those facilities were being put in, we already had it figured into our income and things like that. We made sure that it was doable through that, and we're saving money during the pandemic because of the cancellation of the spring sports and the lack of expenses we're going to have to end up paying out. So that's my final decision. I think it's very important to keep that culture. I think you're, in the end, making more money than you're losing in this situation, and I just think that's the final decision that you need to make. But I hope nothing but the best for Dakota State University, and that's my input. Thank you.